cats and kittens, and thanks for tuning in for another edition of MonkeyBoy Presents the DC Comics Superhero Collection by Eaglemoss. Today I'm happy to bring you issue number 2, the Man of Steel himself, Superman. I, as always, am your humble host, the MonkeyBoy, aka Jay to his friends. As I said the last time, a little bit of housekeeping here. I will not be looking at the packaging the figure comes in because, frankly, it's boring. There's nothing to see. It's a blister box. If you saw the last one, trust me, you've seen them all. And I will not be covering the catalog this time because it didn't come with one. From here on out, the figures only come with the magazine. So, of course, first we will delve deep into the magazine itself, take a look inside, briefly go over what it contains, and just to show you the artwork, because frankly, the artwork is gorgeous. Secondly, a quick review of the lead figure itself. Sit back, relax, and please enjoy the review of DC Comics Superhero Collection, issue number 2, Superman. Issue number 2, much like issue number 1 featuring Batman, details Superman's origin story. It talks about how his real name is Kal-El, how he's from the planet Krypton, and how his parents sent him here on a shuttle as his world was dying. Once he crash-landed on Earth, he was adopted by the Kent family, a simple farming couple who couldn't have kids of their own. It also, of course, deals with his powers: super strength, flight, near invulnerability, heat vision, x-ray vision, etc., etc. Anyone who knows the character should be familiar with his power set. We're also treated to Cliff Note versions of some of his greatest fights, like the one seen here against Metallo, and of course, arguably, his greatest fight against Doomsday. Now, this, of course, is one of the best-known storylines, the death of Superman, and it's also one of the most controversial that DC has ever done. The article also touches on the fact that Lois and Clark eventually got married in the comic books. The last couple pages deal with what was most recent at the time in the Superman comic book. It was during the 52 storyline where Superman had lost his powers, so he was making his way through life as everyday normal human being Clark Kent, and leaving the superheroing to the superheroes, actually. It was a very interesting time for Superman and for the readers. Eventually he regained his powers, and all was well, until, suddenly and mysteriously, a pod crash-landed in Metropolis, and lo and behold, inside was a child. And the child had some striking similarities to Superman and Kryptonians. Superman was upset by the way the authorities came in and snatched the child up, so he actually went and took the child from them and smuggled him away to Kent Farms in Smallville, where he and Lois started to take care of the boy and raise him and learn more about him. The next section in the magazine has to do with classic storylines, same as the last issue. This one, of course, dealing with Superman. We have a trio, yet again. He's one of the few who gets 3 storylines to choose from. We get the Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow storyline from 1983, which was at the end of what was known as the Golden Age of Comics. They were going to reboot the Superman storyline, tell the origin all over again to usher it into a new era, which leads us to the next one, which is Superman, the Man of Steel, in 1986, which was the most recent retelling of the origin, at least at the time. Finally, the one that most everyone knows, the most controversial story of all time, probably, the death of Superman, which really could probably be called the hibernation of Superman, but whatever. Classic nonetheless. On the adjoining page, of course, we have the Allies and Enemies section, same as before, friends and foes of the Man of Tomorrow. The first page dealing with his friends mostly, Lois, and the next 2 pages are primarily his villains, all his villains. Bizarro, Darkseid. Actually, every single one of these characters has been turned into an Eaglemoss figure, so you'll get to see them eventually. Last issue's iconography section detailed Batman and his many gadgets. This issue's iconography section details Superman and the Kryptonian secrets that he guards. It details the Phantom Zone. We get a little bit of information about his parents, Jor-El and Lara. We also get an extremely detailed map, I guess you would call it, cutaway of his Fortress of Solitude. It is extremely detailed and gorgeous to look at. I wish I could get a better picture of it. And finally, we get the original thinking section of the magazine this time, featuring the creators of Superman and how Superman came to be. It details Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, who lived in Cleveland during the Great Depression of the 1930s, and how originally they set out to make a comic book that was nothing like what Superman would turn into. Originally, Superman was going to be the villain who would use his powers for evil. And a professor named Professor Smalley, who was a bald scientist who obviously later became the inspiration for Lex Luthor, fought against him, the ordinary man against the Superman. The comic unfortunately didn't sell very well, but they were still convinced that this character that they created had potential. So they went back and they decided, you know, he was inspired by Hercules and Samson and other strongman characters from mythology. Why not make him a hero too? And that's exactly what they did. And now we have the Man of Steel, the Man of Tomorrow, the last son of Krypton, Clark Kent, Superman. Here he is, the Man of Steel, Superman, in the red figurine form. I have to say that this is a great follow-up to the Batman. Once again, fantastic sculpt, fantastic paint job. This one especially, the face is really, really well done. Unlike the Batman, there's no cowl to hide underneath, no mask to hide behind. So they actually had to detail the face this time, and honestly, I think they did a great job considering the scale of this thing. Even the little curl in his hair there, with the little S curl, I love that. The shield is not a decal. That is not a decal, ladies and gentlemen. That is actually a painted on S. The belt is also painted. Everything's painted. There are no stickers on this thing. Even the back, they have the shield on the cape. Something they couldn't even do in the Superman Returns movie. Just saying. The pose is iconic. You know, broad-chested, shoulders back, bold, strong. I kind of wish that he was hovering. He's not. He's just standing flat-footed. But that's just a tiny little nitpick. That's me being a geek. Honestly, it doesn't get better than this for Superman. It's a great follow-up to Batman. I'll put some better pictures, some close-ups here. Once again, as with the previous figure, Superman stands atop the DC logo, which is molded onto the base, and on the underside it has his name as well as the serial number for this figure. Overall, it's a wonderful addition to the line. The good is the sculpt, especially the face. He has this hopeful look, the curl in the hair. Fantastic job with that. The overall sculpt is fantastic. I love the pose. The broad-chested pose. The fact that there are no stickers used on it is fantastic as well, that it's all hand-painted. Really well done. The only bad on my figure happens to be a little bit of a splotch of paint on the back of his underoos. Other than that, it is a flawless paint job. And lastly, the ugly. There's really nothing ugly about this figure. Like the Batman previously, it's just a wonderful job overall. Paint, sculpt, pose, everything. Really well done. Hats off to Eaglemoss for another fine addition to the line. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this review as well. I'm looking forward to the next one. It's going to be a lot of fun, I hope. There's a quick little teaser for that at the end of this, so please stay tuned and check it out. Once again, I am your host, the MonkeyBoy. Thanks for watching.
Let the good times roll!